In March 2017, when I first heard those words, she was told, she was warned, nevertheless she persisted. I knew I had to do something. I just didn't know what. As an artist, I knew I could use my medium of art making as my tool, but I also knew I could use words. One day I sat down and created a painting with words, and thus began the journey into the hashtag She Persisted series. It started with the one painting, went to 2, I thought I'd do 12, and now I'm on number 72, which is really what I'm going to be showing you today, the process of creating number 72. This has been a series of rebellion. It has been a series of transformation also for me. Working on this series has taught me to trust in the process, to honor the muse when she calls. But it's also taught me the subtleness sometimes of our limiting beliefs and how they are part of our society without our even realizing it sometimes, keeping women in their place, keeping us tied to old beliefs and old ways of being without even noticing that that's what we're doing. Working on this series has given me a voice. It's helped me find my voice and then to speak up. It's also provided me an opportunity to explore what does it mean to be a woman in this day and age. It has been an incredible journey, and I hope you enjoy following along as I follow the muse and allow number 72 to come into being. To begin, I just put down a piece of parchment paper underneath the page I'm going to be working on, and then I just start laying down color. There's no process or thought about it. It's really just, let's get some color down on this page. And I kind of like this turquoise and yellow, so I begin with that. And as I go through, I add some gesso and some water in order to move the paints around. I just really want to get a sense of a background going. I keep adding color, this time with Delusion inks, again, just to give it vibrancy and depth. And I just keep layering and layering and layering and having fun. Now that we have a nice base of color, deep, rich colors, I want to add some texture, some interest to the background. So I'm going to use a spray ink over a stencil and see what happens. As I was spraying with a very faint gold, it's hard to see it on here, but once I use the gelatos, which I'm about to do, you'll start to see how that texture from the actual spray paint and the stencil starts to come through. So I want a different shape. Again, I'm just looking for interesting background. So I'm going to use my gelatos. I like the circles. I like the color. I like the way everything's sort of coming together. But I really need to now give it some cohesiveness and some linear look and some depth. So I'm going to use spray ink again, but a black this time, and a line sense stencil to just add some interest. And now it's time for some big fun. I always have a stash of papers on hand that I've printed on, jelly printed mostly, or drawn on, and I keep them so that I can use them in other pieces of work like this one. I don't know if I want to use one of these, but I really want to check it out and test it. So I start going through my stash, and I decide I'm going to use a couple of the plants that I have, the botanicals, and I tear around them, and I check it out, and I decide, will I or won't I? I add them with gesso, and then I decide, I don't think I really like them. So I pull them off, but I also notice how the gesso has added additional depth on top of the background that I've already created. So I add very thin watered down layer of gesso in order to give the background more interest and intrigue. I'm really happy with where the background is now. I like the depth, I like the softness, the colors, the texture, the darkness and light. And now I decide to start painting into it. It's still background. I'm still not ready to put the woman who will become number 72 into it. But I want to have a sense of whimsy and color. I still need color in it. So again, it's really important to remember that this is intuitive. I'm not mapping it out before I begin. I'm just listening to what is being called for, listening to my heart, listening to the muse, and I'm just doing it with what feels good to do. There is no right or wrong, but there's always fun. And then it's time to add some color to the leaves that I've just put down on the page. So I begin to paint, this time with acrylic inks in a deep violet. I also add white, but I mostly stick with the deep violet. I like to use the Stabilo aquarels, the black and the white, because they blend when I add the ink and the water. I like how they can then be used to form the leaves. It's kind of a grungy look, which I really find helpful. I like it. Now, the fact is, I really like these botanicals, and I almost think I'd just go in that direction and not do a face in the middle. But I also know that the muse is calling me to do as she persisted, number 72. So I follow the muse, because that's where I know the greatest joy comes. Now, to do that, it means I have to put gesso in the middle of the page so that I have a background for the face. So I start to cover up that thing I think is so precious, botanicals. And because it's fun, I also go in with the end of a paintbrush and I just inscribe things into the gesso. They don't have any meaning. It's just texture, a feel, and having fun. Now it's time to lean into the part that I find the most challenging, which is painting the face. I practice first on a sheet beside my page just to give me some sizing and some view of the page. And I draw a face. I don't use another reference when I do these. I really like to challenge myself and to just be free-flowing. And if I'm following somebody else's face, I find that I get stuck in the actuals versus the expressive part, that piece that says, hey, let's just look like this. Because I'm not going for realistic, I'm going for an impression, a sense of the inner woman coming out. Once I've got an idea of what I want the face to look like, I start working on the page. And from here, it's really just about drawing it in and then painting in and doing more, adding color and contours, which are the piece that I always struggle with. It's that light-dark thing. I just struggle with that. And so it's really good practice to just keep going in and going in and going in. And again, I'm not looking for perfection. I can't get to perfection. What I'm really seeking to do is to just be free and to have fun while I'm at it and to let the face appear. From here on in, it really is just about going with the flow. Not getting stuck in my head, not getting that critter going who's saying, oh, this looks terrible, paint over it, go away, you can't paint. It's really just about staying in the moment, in the process, and being free of self-judgment so that I can simply paint. So it's just now going to be about color and hair and eyes and nose and trying to just let it happen. And I always hesitate on this one because I never feel my faces are good enough. So it's really a good lesson in just letting go.
on a treasure hunt. I long for something new. Have you heard the fairies when they sing and dance? Oh, I wish it was me every night. When I close my eyes, I see beauty lives in me. I know I don't yet know it, so I trust you when you say that beauty lives in me too. Later, it comes later, dear. For many of us, I promise you that we learn through the wrongs, and even the rough can be sweet. Just close your eyes and know beauty lives in me. I know I don't yet know it, so I trust you when you say that beauty lives in me too. It's gonna take some time to get there. I don't care, I don't care. I'm in for the fight. It's gonna take some time, but I know that beauty lives in me. I know I don't yet know it, so I trust you when you say that beauty lives in me too. Beauty lives in me. I know I don't yet know it, so I trust.
I've added color. I've actually gone back in with white on top of the pink to lighten it up a bit. I've added black ink around the flowers. I had decided somewhere in there that what I was going for was a Marie Antoinette, Magdalene kind of face that spoke to the fact that so many of our limiting beliefs have come down through centuries. And I wanted to sort of have that sense of an old world in the new world and some impressionism in there. So that's why I've sort of gone for this other look in the hair in particular, and then the face, the big eyes, and the small heart-shaped chin. It's been fun, but I would be lying if I told you it wasn't stressful. Faces are hard, and I know that the more I practice, the easier it will become. So I keep going.
All these wicked nightmares has gone cold. No, we go way, way back, as far as way back goes. Still standing by your side. You know I'll be right here when all the monsters come.
I'm almost there. I'm looking at the leaves around her face, and I just want to add a bit more color back into them. So I'm going to use the same acrylic ink that I used originally. But I really like the way they kind of look like, those collars that you used to see Queen Elizabeth wear as an example. They were up around their faces and their necks. And I love how the leaves, the botanicals, kind of have that feeling. It's kind of cool. And I'm liking her face. Her eyes are piercing. I still, I'm going to say it again. They're just hard, but hard isn't bad. Like hard is important because hard is what teaches us how to keep going and how to keep pursuing the things we want to do, how to persist. hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. I hope that you found it inspiring and interesting, and that you got some ideas on how to enhance the work you do and how to follow the muse and let go of the critic. I hope that you continue to paint and create and express yourself through all of your art, and that in those endeavors you always pursue your dreams. Thanks again. And if you want to drop a note at the bottom in the YouTube channel, that'd be great. And if you like it, that'd be wonderful. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, mlouiseg88. Thanks a lot. Bye.